The UFC has a wide range of personalities amongst the roster. You got some who are loved by many and hated by many, like Jon Jones, and a few that are even hated by many and loved by pretty much no one. I'm looking at you, Colby Covington. But you'll have to search far and wide to find a fan of MMA who isn't also a fan of Robert Whittaker. Today we're going to talk about why. These are 5 reasons Robert Whittaker is just a legendary, likable lad. Number 1, he's a huge gamer. Bobby Knuckles is a hardcore gamer. He's mentioned plenty of times that he's been playing since he was a youngin', and the first game that really sunk those hooks in him was Elder Scrolls Morrowind. He's been going hard ever since. It's really cool to see more and more UFC fighters talk about gaming. Being able to relate to the fighters in that way just makes you want to root for them a little bit more. To hear Whittaker talk about spending too much money on games, or having to find ways to squeeze in an hour or two of gaming here and there, a lot of us, myself included, know those feelings a little too well. Most gamers in the UFC play first-person shooters like Warzone. There's some variety here and there, but they're mostly shooting games. Bobby Knuckles, he's different. Whittaker has always preferred the RPGs, where you can customize your character and go off on dope little adventures. He really likes Elder Scrolls and Fallout. He's actually an ambassador for Bethesda games, so he'll get to play new games early and do special events for new games and stuff like that. And he even got to play some Elder Scrolls Online with Pete Hines, the Bethesda vice president. Whittaker said that video games help him escape a little bit from the mental and physical toll of the fight game. And when it's fight week and he's cutting weight, hungry, and exhausted, he can still game, because he keeps that Alienware laptop on him. He's always ready. When asked about the quarantine after his Darren Till bout at Fight Island, Whittaker said he was good. Gets to play video games all day, order whatever he wants to eat. He said he was built for quarantine. You can really tell how important gaming is to him just based on how often he talks about it. Like how he mentioned his Elder Scrolls character made a lot of progression through quarantine, or joking about spending 60% of his UFC paycheck on League of Legends content. According to The Reaper, gaming is his ultimate way to relieve pressure, and I think that's what gaming is for a lot of people. It's real easy to root for someone when you can relate with them on something like that, a hobby or passion that helps you deal with the everyday struggles. Number 2, he's very proud to represent his culture. Robert Whittaker was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and his family moved to Australia a month later. Robert's dad is Australian from European descent, and his mother is of Maori and Samoan descent. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. I do apologize. On his mother's side, they have a strong Maori heritage. He said he got the tattoo on his right shoulder to pay respects to that heritage. In the post-fight press conference after his TKO of Jacare Souza at UFC on Fox 24, Whittaker said he feels blessed to be in a position where he can step in the octagon and represent both Australia and New Zealand. He is, after all, the first Australian UFC champion. In an interview with GQ Australia, he talked about how proud he is of his country and where he's from. In a sport with champions from all over the world, it's nice to see Robert Whittaker give Australia some shine. He's also held some youth clinics at his main gym, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Smeaton Grange. Rob's also helped his head coach, Henry Perez, who runs GAP, which stands for Gracie Aboriginal Program, which helps youngins use jiu-jitsu as a channel to get to a higher education. Rob's also spent time visiting remote indigenous communities at inland New South Wales, talking to kids about combat sports and how martial arts can help with discipline and success. Whittaker said he just wants to be a good role model for the kids of Australia, New Zealand, and all over the world. I think he's been doing a great job so far. It's nice to see a fighter from a country that doesn't get a lot of attention for having famous athletes being so proud of where he's from. Number 3, he's a family man. Robert Whittaker's got a big family. Him and his wife Sophia have 4 kids, their 3 sons, John, Jack, and Jace, and their daughter, Liliana. Rob's also the legal guardian of his little brother and sister. Family's always been a big part of Rob's life. His parents split in 2000, then him and his brother moved in with his dad, and his dad pretty much raised him on his own. When Whittaker was 18, his dad got him that tattoo of the Southern Cross on his chest. When he beats on it before every fight, that's to let his dad know he's thinking about him, and that he knows his dad's watching. He's mentioned that he has a lot of respect for his father, and got some inspiration from him on how to be a dad himself. It's easy to see that Whittaker cares a lot about his family. After he beat Cannonier, he potentially lost out on a title fight because he said he didn't want to have a fight booked before his newborn arrived. All of his children prior, he had a fight booked, so he had that fight looming over his head and wasn't really present for that huge moment. He refused to let that happen again. He said he wouldn't book another fight until after the Christmas holiday and his baby was born. Rob was supposed to fight Jared Cannonier at UFC 248, but he pulled out. There was a rumor going around that he had to donate bone marrow to his daughter. Thankfully, that wasn't true. He was just burned out. He said he needed to reset, spend time with his family, and refocus. In an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald, when asked what his family means to him, he said, "It's everything. My family is my fuel for who I am." Robert Whittaker is clearly a family man. You usually don't have 4 kids unless you're a family man. To see a fighter care about his family that much and talk about the importance of being a good role model and leaving behind a legacy for your kids, That deserves some respect, and adds to the reasons why Robert the Reaper Whittaker is like the most likable fighter ever. Number 4. He's an incredible fighter. Bobby Knuckles is an amazing fighter and really fun to watch. He started training karate at a really young age, so it's no surprise that striking is his comfort zone. He usually likes to keep it at kickboxing range, hands low, legs far apart, and he loves to jump in with a jab or cross and go from there. Got a start in the UFC when he won the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, The Smashes, which was a tough season that put 8 Australians versus 8 guys from UK. He got a 19-second knockout in his first fight on the show. That KO earned him a $25,000 bonus for knockout of the season. Robert Whittaker throws some serious heat, and we know this is true because he's got knockouts over the likes of Derek Brunson, Jacare Souza, Brad Tavares, and Clint Hester. And that's since moving up to middleweight. Whittaker puts pressure on his opponents like no one else in the UFC. His fights are so much fun to watch. Robert Whittaker and boring fight are words that will likely never be paired together. After beating Brunson, he got a number 1 contender fight, and that's when he knocked out Jacare. This was the first time Jacare had been finished since 2008. Then he got a title shot, but Michael Bisping's knee was bothering him, so he fought Romero for an interim belt and won via unanimous decision, becoming Australia's first UFC champion. He fought Yoel Romero again and won via split decision. Although it was pretty controversial, a lot of people thought Romero won the fight, but the judges sided with Whittaker. He unfortunately lost the belt to Izzy, but since then he's looked great. He took out top contenders Darren Till and Jared Cannonier, and he came pretty close to finishing Cannonier with that signature jab head kick combo. They keep throwing these contenders at the Reaper and he keeps knocking them back down, and it makes it really easy to pull for him. If he beats Gastelum, I don't see how he doesn't fight for the title next. Robert Whittaker is an incredible fighter. He's shown time and time again that he can compete with the best in the division, and I can't wait to watch him fight again. Number 5. His personality makes him impossible not to like. Robert Whittaker is just the nicest. In today's day and age where the UFC is full of fighters who try to stir the pot and create fights out of nothing, either to build fight hype or to try to play some mental games, it's nice to see a fighter who truly lets their fighting do the talking. Not one to talk down to his opponents before or after the fight. He's such a wholesome fella, always complimenting his opponents, very respectful. He talked about being gutted to see Jacare lose when he was the one who knocked him out. He's confident in his abilities and he knows he's one of the best, but unlike a lot of other fighters in the sport, he doesn't have to boast about how good he is or how much better he is than other fighters. I think the closest thing you can get to him talking bad about other fighters is his very light back and forth with Izzy. The worst thing he said was, "I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is." But he said a lot more good than bad, even when it comes to talking about Israel Adesanya. I bet even Izzy likes him, at least a little bit. He's a true martial artist, showing respect to everyone, including whoever he's fighting. Michael Bisping jokingly yelled at him to stop being so nice when they were talking during the post-fight show after Whittaker beat Romero for the first time for the interim belt. Pretty much any promo he cuts for a fight, he always includes how skillful and dangerous his opponent is. Robert Whittaker is one of the nicest, most wholesome fighters in the UFC, and you gotta love him for it. Well, that's it. 5 reasons why everyone likes Robert Whittaker. He's a great fighter inside the cage and a great person outside the cage. He's gotta be in the running for the UFC's nicest fighter. Him and Wonderboy, neck and neck. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments section which fighter you want us to talk about next. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, peace.